All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome to today's webinar. Hope everybody's having a great week and a great Thursday. This is going to be a powerful session. I'm excited to help a lot of people discover how to buy an online business, how to add additional cash flow, how to have an opportunity to build wealth with an online business as an asset in your portfolio. So this is going to be very powerful for everybody that is here, that's watching it, especially if you're here live, because at the end, I'll be taking questions and I'll be able to educate and provide tons of value and tons of impact to you. So we're going to wait just a few minutes before we dive into today's content. I want to make sure that we give people plenty of time, even the people that are tardy to class here, to come in and be late. So we'll give people about 5 minutes and then we'll dive into the actual presentation today. So before we dive in today, let me know where you're joining me from. In the comments here, let me know what state, what city that you're joining me from. This way I can see where everybody's coming from. All right, awesome. So we've got Harris from Omaha, Nebraska. So great to see you here. Heard nothing but good things about Nebraska. Looks like we've got Adam as well from Seattle, Washington. Megan from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Stepan, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And he's coming from London. So awesome. It's late over there. Thank you for, being on this webinar. I know it's late for you. So just shows that you're committed to your goals and you want to find out more about buying a business. So it's great. Love it. We've got Benjamin, looks like from Plano, Texas. Great name, by the way. That's my son's name. So great name, Benjamin. Thank your mom for that. And we've got Matana from Malta. Wow. Okay. I know it's late for Malta. So, okay. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with me today. Love it. It's amazing. All right. And then we've got Todd from Winnipeg, Canada. And let's see here. We've got also Audra. Looks like Audra, you didn't put down your city state. So let me know what city state. You just put your name in the chat, but let me know where you're joining from. All right, guys, let me go ahead and get things kind of set up on my end. This way we're ready to dive in. Super excited to dive into today's content. It's going to be an amazing, amazing webinar session. All right, cool. Okay, guys. Well, let me go ahead and share the presentation. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me a thumbs up when you could see it. So this way I can make sure everybody can see it clearly. And then we'll dive in and have a phenomenal training over the next 60 minutes. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. All right, you guys should see it now. Let me know, give me a thumbs up in the comments so you can see it. All right, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Justin. Okay. Tanya, thank you. David, thank you. Michael, thank you. Okay, cool. We've got enough, a thumbs up. So it looks like we've got plenty of people that can see it. So it's great. Okay, good. Okay, all right, guys. So on today's webinar, you're going to discover how to buy a business, how to get cash flow, and how to also have an opportunity to build wealth from owning an online business. So this masterclass is called Bought Not Built. It's learn how to evaluate and buy an existing business. So it's all about cash flow first, customers first, and a smarter path to ownership and also your dreams. Okay. So first off, let me just kind of dive into some proof here. Okay. So this is stuff that these are businesses that we bought. Okay. So we've been doing this for the last 4.5 years. And we've been in e-commerce since 2013. So we've got a deep amount of experience. So this isn't something that we're just talking about. This is something we're doing every single day. So this is just one of our businesses we've purchased. As you can see, it's done just under 4 million. Here's another business. This is a business that's done 5.6 million. Here's another business that was doing 2.4 million over a 12-month period. Then another business we've got doing 15 million in Australian dollars. And then we have another business here that was doing just under 9 million, over a 12-month period. So since 2022, we've generated over 30 million in online sales from businesses that we purchased, and we started purchasing businesses in 2022. Okay, so this is all coming from real results, real experience, and the process that you're going to learn today has led to a successful company, a two-time Inc. 5000 company. Lots of blessings, for us over the last few years, and this can also help you also get some blessings in your life too. So I'm super excited to dive into it. So if this sounds incredible to you so far, give me like a let's go, give me a thumbs up, give me a raise the roof, give me something in the comments to show me that you're excited about diving into today's content. Okay, so here is the roadmap. So the roadmap is buying a business is simple, overall. There's a lot of complexity to it as far as the depth that you have to go into, but it's a simple process. It just comes down to evaluating, financing, and then transitioning the business into your ownership. And then you own that business, okay? And here's a conservative ROI breakdown. So anybody that works with us and utilizes our process, this is the conservative ROI that they experience, okay? So this is for like a first-time acquirer. So someone that has no e-com background, no experience buying a business. So literally completely green, okay? So if you're completely green when it comes to buying a business, then this is the conservative minimum ROI breakdown using this process that we're going to go over today, okay? So let's just say that you're going through our process, you see a business that's 150,000 in price, okay? It's a company that's doing 50,000 a month in revenue and 15,000 a month in profit, okay? So it's doing about 180,000 a year in profit. So for this business, you're going to put down, according to our experience, somewhere between 0 to 30,000 cash down, okay? Now, this doesn't have to be cash out of your own pocket. I'll explain during today's presentation, okay? Just follow me here. So after the acquisition, after debt has been applied, due to the terms of the deal that you just agreed to, you end up with a business that's doing 10,000 to 15,000 per month in profit. And this is after the acquisition. So this is after you've taken ownership. So you're getting cash flow literally on day one of ownership in this conservative minimum example. And based on those numbers, you're now owning a business that's doing 180,000 in annual profit. That's more than most jobs. Most jobs don't pay over even 6 figures a year. Okay. So you're up there now with the lawyers, the doctors of the world, with a business that's paying you 180,000 plus per year. Now, let's just say that this is you buy this business, we help you double it because we continue the relationship even after we help you buy a business. So after we take that transition, we help you double the business. And let's just say that that business gets to 30,000 a month in profit. Now you have a business with a 3.5x multiple that is worth 1.26 million. Now you have a 7+ figure asset and you could sell that. And this is something that you can do literally in the next few years. You could buy a business, get cash flow on day one, and then we can help you scale it up, double it over the next 2 years. Then we can help you sell it. And now you have a 7-figure asset that you can cash in on that can make a big impact on your wealth building goals. And that's literally like a minimum ROI of, that's a conservative estimate. A more realistic estimate is actually like this. And I'll move through this one a little bit faster than the last one. Now that you understand, the different points that I'm making here. So for example, a more realistic ROI breakdown is you find a business that is 425,000 and is doing about 100,000 a month in revenue with about 25,000 a month in profit. Now, just so you know, this is actually based on a real success story in our program, in our community, okay? So with this business example, you're going to put down anywhere between 0 to 42,500 down, okay? And again, this doesn't have to be out of your own pocket. So, don't limit yourself to the possibilities here when you hear that. Then after you buy the business, after you apply, the debt to the business you're agreeing to based on the offer and the terms of the offer, now you have a business that is doing 20,000 to 25,000 per month in profit after acquisition. Again, immediate day one cash flow. This is a business that's giving you 300,000 a year in annual profit. And again, we work with you, we help you grow it. And let's just say that we double it together. Then here in the next few years, after we've doubled it, it's now doing 50,000 a month in profit. Same multiple as the previous example, 3.5x is applied. Now you have a asset that's worth 2.1 million. Now this is a more realistic ROI breakdown. This is more of an average ROI for people, whereas the previous example was more of the minimum. So either way, this could be super impactful to the right person that wants to buy a business, add cash flow, become a business owner, add a valuable asset to their investment portfolio, and utilize it to build wealth over the next few years. And there's an incredible opportunity right now. If you don't know this already, there's over 1 million boomer-owned businesses that are expected to sell by 2035. So 48% of boomer owners plan to exit within 3 years. And so there's 10 trillion in private business assets right now coming to the market. And that is literally called the silver tsunami. Feel free to look it up. So who is this for? Okay, so this is for someone that's still in a job but wants to replace income or make more. Or this is for someone that is retired or semi-retired with capital that they want to deploy. Or this is for someone that is sitting on cash, credit, or excess funds, and they want to leverage their earnings, their credit. This way they can get their money to work for them. This is for someone that's successful but is under leveraged. They're not really maximizing everything that they could do to be able to create more cash flow and more wealth for themselves. Or this is for someone that's always wanted to start a business, but starting from zero is hard, and they want to do it without starting from zero, which in my professional and humble opinion is the smarter path. Now, who is this not for? It's important that I also point this out as well. This is not for lazy Lonnies, so to speak, that are unwilling to work, okay? Also, this is not for people that are unwilling to act, because in order to create what you want for yourself, it can't just happen on its own. You've got to act. You've got to take decisions towards that. Also, this is not for someone that has no funds, no credit, or no capital plan. Unfortunately, we don't produce miracles. The higher power can, we can't, but we can help people that have credit to leverage or a bit of cash to leverage, okay? This is also not for someone that is looking for push button income, okay? Nothing in life that's worth anything, in my opinion, is easy, okay? Also, on top of that, someone that's chasing lottery ticket deals, okay? It's not for that person either, okay? All right, so the old path, it's broken, okay? There was, at one point when it came to buying a business, you had 3 different paths here. You had the startup path where you build from zero, you wait years, and most businesses fail, okay? You also have the passive investing path where there's low control, a slow climb, and also a waiting game. But then there's also a third path, and the third path is the smart path. That's the acquisition path, where you buy demand that's already there, you use systems that have already been built, and you acquire cash flow faster. Literally, like I showed you in the examples in the previous slides, you acquire cash flow on day one, okay? So the old path, in my opinion, it is broken, and even though it's getting easier and easier to start businesses due to AI right now, it's also becoming much more competitive. And it's so much easier to step into a successful business and to build it up from where it's at than it is to start a brand new business from scratch. And look, the proof is in the pudding. Here's a fact. 5 million new businesses are started each year, with 65% of them failing within a few years. So unless you like to gamble, it's a broken path currently. It really is a broken path, and it has been. And it takes a lot of, well, a lot of cojones or a lot of toughness to be able to go down that path. If you got the passion for it, and you know that you're going to put a lot of time, a lot of energy, possibly a lot of money into it, and you're willing to endure, then go for it. But the easier path and the best path for most people, in my opinion, is to buy an already established, successful, profitable online business. And I say online, not offline. And there's a lot of reasons for that, okay? So for one, you buy existing demand, okay? Number 2, you buy existing systems, okay? A business that's running on systems and processes. And also on top of that, you buy existing proof when you go down this specific path. Now, the risk is not buying. The risk is buying blind. See, buyers freeze for many reasons. They freeze because there's too many listings, there's too many numbers, there's no clear buy box, there's no decision frame either. And because of that, they just get stuck in this analysis because they just They don't know how to weed through the listings. They don't know how to review the numbers. They don't know how to properly evaluate and value a business or to look through the financial reports. They don't have a clear buy box. They don't know what they can buy and what they can't buy. They also don't know what type of business they should buy. And they also have no decision frame. They have no filter that helps them make strong decisions throughout the entire process. And so they become stuck. Now, the promise today is you will know the path to get past all that. You will know the traps, and you will also know the next step. So that is the promise today. If you like that promise, type yes in the chat if you are ready. And I'm going to go into the chat right now, and I'm going to call out people that are typing yes in the chat, so this way I can see who's with me. So David, thank you so much. Appreciate you typing that yes in the chat. Ryan, thank you so much as well. All right, so I'll do one more. There we go. All right, CJ, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right, awesome. Okay, let's continue here, guys. Okay, so why listen to me? All right. Look, I've acquired 19 businesses through my company, ARM5 Formula Company, since 2022. I've helped several clients too since we started this program about 9 months ago acquire businesses too. In total, we've had 22 businesses acquired between those two different groups. And also on top of that, we're about to close and help our clients close on a few businesses too. So this is about to jump to 24 literally in the next few weeks. And soon after 25, 26, because we have people that we're helping every single day, every single month. Plus on top of that, since 2022, I've been successful at raising capital. I've raised 8.2 million. As I mentioned earlier, we've generated over 30 million in online sales since 2022. We've made the Inc. 5000 twice in the last 2 years. And what that means is we are considered one of the fastest growing companies in America over the last 2 years. We didn't unfortunately make it this year, but we made it the last 2 years. And on top of that, we've been in e-commerce. My company and I have been in e-commerce since 2013. So over 13 years now. So quite some time. Okay. Now, I want you to also watch this testimonial. So I'm going to pull it up here. I want you guys to listen. This is from Jason Decker. This is one of the people in our program that has had success in the program. And this has literally been life-changing for him. So I know you're going to love this. Let me go ahead and put it up on screen. Let me take the presentation down.
Decker, and I am the owner of This Silly Girl's Kitchen, where I got the help from Team ARM5, and I am incredibly grateful I did. I was your typical rat race guy working in automotive for 26 years, a couple days off a month, not spending time with family. Every story you can dream up was pretty much the life I was living. And I just decided there had to be another way. So with the team at ARM5's help, I was able to buy my first business. And it literally took 4 months for when I started till me finalizing the documents on my asset purchase order. And I'll tell you this, I got a Harvard education on what it takes to buy a business. I got a Harvard education on the legalese, and it's a lot of work. So if you don't plan to do work and you think that's just a layup, well, that's not it. But the good part is you have the freedom over your time and your success. And that's what this system helped provide me with. I did the work, and am doing the work and will continue to do the work because I want the company to have massive success. But at the end of the day, I really have to thank the guys from ARM5 because they helped me out tremendously. They held my hand along the way, which is exactly what I needed. And I'm grateful I made the decision I did to join ARM5. So thanks, Josh, and especially thanks to Jeff because he was absolutely outstanding, holding my hand through this, teaching me as much as he did. He was not only has become a friend, he's become a mentor, and I am incredibly blessed to have both Josh and Jeff in my life. Thanks.
All right, so that was Jason Decker. Now, if you heard a bit in his story there, Jason was working in corporate America. He was working in auto sales. He was very successful too. He was literally making about 7 figures a year as a manager at a auto sales dealership, a BMW dealership. But he was sacrificing time with family, and he had that also impacted his previous marriage, which unfortunately didn't work out. And a lot of that had to do with him putting time and energy into and having the time and energy to put into his relationship. But the business has changed his life. Let's focus on the positive. This business has literally changed his life. He's been able to leave his previous job, even though he was making good money, obviously. He now spends time with his daughters consistently, and he's got great relationships with them. So it's literally been life-changing for him. Let's also listen to this video here with Dirk.
Hi everyone, I'm Dirk Latrell, and I want to talk to you about why I joined the ARM5 Formula Acquisition Program. One of the biggest reasons I joined the ARM5 Formula is that I work a normal 9-to-5 job. I go to work, I come home, I pay my bills, and I find that at the end of the week, most of the money that I've made at work goes out to spending bills like everyone else does, going to the same program. And like everybody else, it's a grind that everyone has to go through. Another reason why I joined is because I always wanted to buy my own business. I always wanted to be able to do that, but I lacked the knowledge or the funds to be able to do that. Now granted, I joined this ARM5 Formula program with zero money to be able to do anything, to be able to buy a business, to have nothing. I just took very little of what I had and I bought into this program. And since then, I've joined, I have learned the knowledge of what it means to how to look at a company, how the questions to ask, and what to look for in a e-commerce business. And I have learned that joining the ARM5 Formula, and Josh and his team have taught me this. Since then, I am at the process of buying my very first business. And the business is making over $1.2 million a year, averaging over $100,000 a month, and making $20,000 net profit. And guess what? I had put in zero money of my money into this acquisition. And that is what Josh and his team have taught me and given me the confidence in the future. And since then, I am looking forward to a more brighter future for myself and for my family in order to be able to do the things that I want. And it's all about because of what I am doing now, joining this program. So I hope that you will take the chance that, like I did, to join this program and to learn from Josh and his team. And one day you will be able to buy your own business and learn what it means to be an entrepreneur. Everybody, you have yourself a great day, and I hope you join this program, and I'll be seeing you guys around. God bless. Bye.
All right. Well, you just heard from Dirk as well, another success story that we had in the program. Bought a business with no money out of his own pocket, ended up buying a business that is doing 1.2 million a year and actually doing a little bit over 300,000 a year in profit. So let's dive back in, guys. So this can happen to you. This can happen to anybody. All it takes is, the right mindset, someone that's driven and someone that believes. So let's go over like the discovery. So starting is risky, but buying is risky, but there's support guides along the way that help you, that have guardrails. And with the ARM5 method, there's a simple way to see deals. There's a safer way to structure deals. And there's also a calmer way to also take over the business. So we're going to cover 3 secrets today, okay? We're going to cover evaluate, finance, and also transition. So let's dive into secret number 1. So secret number 1, evaluating the deal. First off, you do not buy the story, okay? You buy the evidence. And you never want to buy revenue alone because revenue is noise. It's really about the profit. You want to look at the profit in the business. You want to really dive into the costs that the business incurs on a consistent basis. You want to dive into whether the business is being ran responsibly and is producing healthy figures, because you're identifying a business that is a turnkey business, because that transferability of a turnkey business, that's what you're looking for. And that's where the value is in buying a business. So you want to find the real engine, like offer, traffic, operations. Does it have good offers that are selling consistently? And don't make this a subjective decision. You may not like the offer, but the numbers speak for themselves. That's what you're looking for when you're evaluating a business that you're potentially going to buy. Also, traffic. Is it getting traffic consistently? Whether it's from organic, whether it's from paid traffic, whether it's from affiliates, is it getting traffic consistently? Because that's part of that turnkey business that you're looking for, is a business that is getting traffic consistently every single day and every single month. And then also you want to evaluate operations. Does it have an operation? Because you don't want an owner dependent business, because then you're just buying a job. You want to find a business that has operations, has staff, has processes and SOPs. Those are standard operating procedures. Potentially even today, AI baked in, like AI agents running customer service or running email marketing, for example. That's what you're looking for when you're looking for the real engine to buy. Okay. And then when you're talking to the owner or the seller, you want to ask them questions like, why now? Like, why do you want to sell this business now? And you really want to dig into this too. And keep in mind that a lot of businesses are for sale. There's a lot of good businesses out there. Just because they're for sale does not mean that it's a bad business, because sellers' goals just change or seller circumstances just change. For example, I've heard all the stories in the world over the last several years evaluating businesses. Some sellers just want to make their life easier, and they want to focus on family, for example. Or some sellers, they just lost their passion and they want to put their passion into another business project they've already started. And now they're juggling, two businesses, and they're just like, this one it could be doing more, but I can't put energy and time into it. Plus, I don't have the passion for it when I'm putting it over here, for example. Or it could be a partnership breakdown, for example, and that just leaves you with an opportunity. So you really want to dig in and find out the real why, because that why is going to help you determine whether it's a good business for you to create an offer on and go pitch. And also is going to give you intel that you can use to get the seller to say yes to whatever offer that you're proposing. So this way they can accomplish their goals while you accomplish your goals. Okay. And you also want to identify what breaks first after, you sell the business. And that's a quite hard question to ask in a way, and a harder question to answer, but it's a great question to ask too. It's a question we ask just about every single time. And we recommend that we do that our clients do that every single time in the vetting process too. This way, a seller will tell you, what weaknesses the business has, because you want to do a accurate, in-depth assessment of the business so you can identify good businesses from bad, or just concerns in a business, because every business has some cracks and some challenges, but you want to know what it is that you're stepping into so you can evaluate how you can address that as the new owner if you buy the business. Okay. And, customers don't assume that they'll tell you the truth. You really have to dig into the numbers. Customers are always going to lie about, not customers, I'm sorry. Sellers are always going to lie about something, but customers tell the truth. What I mean by that is diving into the analytics, diving into the reporting of a business, looking at retention, customer return rate, looking at reviews, Trustpilot, for example, looking at refunds. Is there a heavy amount of refunds on a consistent basis? Churn. Does the business keep customers coming back? CAC. What's the average cost to acquire a customer? That's what it's, customer acquisition cost. That's what that stands for. Those are analytics that you want to identify, because that tells you the truth about the business. Also, traffic can be a liability. One channel, one influencer, one ad account, one merchant account, those are all risk in a business that you're looking at. If a business has one traffic channel, then it's over dependent on one channel. It needs to have two or more, ideally. One influencer, one major influencer driving it, like, for example, maybe that person, the owner or the seller, has a personal brand, and that's the engine that drives the sales in the business. Well, that's a big concern for you, because without him, her, then you really don't have a business. Or one ad account. Well, ad accounts you can lose because they're not owned by you. They're owned by Meta, they're owned by Google, they're owned by TikTok. And so you want to have multiple ad accounts ideally, or a merchant account. This is a big one too. If you lose access to a merchant account in a business, well, that business is now crippled and is not making cash flow, and it's going to die a slow death. So you always want to have a backup merchant account. And so ideally, when you're evaluating a business, you want to have at least 2 of each of these. Well, influencers, more than that, but the rest of them, at least 2 of each of those. This way, these characteristics of the business don't end up being weaknesses of the business. Okay. Profit also beats vanity. Now, top line, impresses. Gross revenue, net revenue, it impresses. Okay. Yes, a business doing 100,000 a year, that's great. But what is it profiting though? Because that's all that matters. Is there free cash flow? Especially for you as a buyer with the goal of acquiring cash flow or acquiring an opportunity to build wealth out of the business. You need to buy a business that has good profit margins, good cash flow, because cash flow survives and cash flow allows you to benefit from the business. It also allows you to grow the business and invest back into the business. So I've already kind of alluded to this a bit, but owner dependency, it kills, because if they leave, what still works and what breaks? Okay, so you want to watch out for that. Here are just some instant red flags. There's some other red flags, but these are just a few. These are some common ones. Business is dependent on the owner. Drop shipping. Stay away from drop shipping. Drop shipping businesses you do not want to buy, because typically they produce terrible customer experiences, complaints. You can't really scale as well, because the fact that you're going to end up getting complaints on Facebook posts, on Instagram posts, on Trustpilot, on your website, you name it. High ticket drop shipping like furniture, that's okay, but anything else, stay away from it. Less than 2 years old, if a business is too new, then it's not proven yet. Don't buy it. It's not worth it, okay? And there's other red flags too, but these are some of the major ones that come up typically in the buying process. And then the diligence snapshot. You want to take a look at numbers, traffic, operations, transfer, okay? That's what you want to take from this segment here today, okay? And good deals, they feel boring, stable beats sexy and profit beats hype. That's what you're looking for, is profit, okay? So secret 1, recap. Do not chase deals, filter them. Okay, so that's secret number 1. If you got value from that, let me know in the comments. We're going to move on to secret number 2, and I'll review these comments here in a little bit. Okay, secret number 2, finance the deal. So the money is not one bucket. It is a structure. Capital is not one thing. So cash, credit, seller terms, partners, these all factor into how you can buy a business and how you can also buy a business with little to no money out of your own pocket. Because see, the seller can help. They want out. As I mentioned before, you want to dig into what their why is. And you want in. You want to take over that business. So you just have to figure out how you can help each other. Those terms bridge the gap between them accomplishing your goals and you accomplishing your goals. And so the down payment, it's a lever that you can pull during the negotiation process. This way you can end up buying a business with less upfront. That's the goal, okay? You, especially for a first-time acquirer, in my opinion, you don't want to buy a business with the majority of the purchase value being in the down payment. Okay. And when I say majority, I mean like 51% plus. Like you don't want to put down, let's just use this example, on a $500,000 business. You don't want to put down $250,000 or more on that business. Now they want you to, obviously, and there might be a broker that may want you to, but it's not in your best interest, especially as a first-time acquirer, because by doing so, that means that you take on more of the risk. If anything, what you want is you want to structure a deal with less upfront, anywhere between $0 to 20% down, more or less, and then the rest of it on creative terms. This way you take a shared risk deal. Okay, that's ideal, especially for anybody that's acquiring a business for the very first time. And that aligns you too, because now they're invested in your future success versus them just taking the money and running. Okay. So cash flow also pays the deal. You want to set up a structured deal where the cash flow in the business pays for the deal, because the asset should help by itself. Okay. And terms, they beat price. A cheaper deal can be worse, but a structured deal can be safer. So you want to structure the deal to mitigate your risk. That's key out of this secret that we're covering. And risk moves around. Okay. There's always going to be risk. There's never going to be a business move that you can make without risk. Okay. There's no way to eliminate the risk. Let's just put it out there. Okay. If you think that you could buy a business with absolutely no risk, well, that's wrong. Okay. You have to take some risk no matter what. But the key is to try your best to mitigate the risk, okay, and spread the risk, because there is always going to be risk in every transaction, every acquisition. It's all about just mitigating it and sharing the risk. And so you want to do that in any deal that you do. And then partners, they fill gaps. There's capital, operations, credibility, if there's partners involved. And so you have to go through each of those with the partners as well to get the partner to agree to do the deal with you as well. And the bank is not the only door, okay? So a lot of people think that you have to go to a bank, you have to get an SBA loan to be able to buy a business. That is not the case. That is old school thinking, and I get it, because I thought that too in my 20s when I was 20 years younger, that you have to go to a bank, get a big loan, go to buy a business. Even the movies teach that. I'm just thinking about The Pursuit of Happiness as I teach that to you guys. But you don't have to do that. And if anything, you don't want to do that, because when you do that, you put all the risk on yourself, because you are taking out a big loan for a business. Plus, on top of that, with an SBA loan specifically, because I know there's a lot of content out there that preaches that you should utilize an SBA loan to buy a business. Well, with an SBA loan, you have to put down 12% on average. You have to put a personal guarantee in, which means you take on more risk. If you tell the seller or the broker that's involved that you're using an SBA loan, that just tells them that they're going to get max value for their business and a lot of cash up front. And they're just going to lean on that. And that's not a good position for you to be in, because again, you want to mitigate the risk, lower it, and get a good shared risk structured deal in place, not a deal where you take on all the risk. And that's all you're telling them. Plus, on top of that, it takes about 3 to 5 months typically to get an SBA loan approved. And part of the approval process depends on the owner of the business you're trying to buy. And if they drop the ball during the process, well, guess what? You just lost that deal because you lost that loan, and that business deal just keeps getting pushed back. So it's not a good process to go through, but more importantly, it puts all the risk on you. And I'm all about helping people mitigate that risk and not take on all that risk. Okay. And here's the financing stack. So, you've got some cash in one form or another that you're going to come up with to do the deal. And again, whether you have cash you can use or whether you have other resources you could tap into, like credit, for example, you can leverage to be able to get a small loan to be able to go buy a business, very small loan, again, that covers up to 20% on average of the purchase of the business. Or, you may have retirement accounts, things like that you can leverage too. But you also want to, again, put a lot of the purchase of the business on them through a note, for example, like a seller financing note, or even better, an earnout. So this way, the business has to perform for them to get payments. And that's how you structure a deal with outside capital. And that's how you also produce future cash flow in any deal that you do. Now, bad financing, it kills good deals. So it's very important that you structure deals properly and you're leveraging tools, processes to be able to plan the cash flow in a business after the terms of a deal. Because key is you want to make sure that the business can cover the debt and has more than enough cash to be able to continue to produce cash for you as the owner, and also for the growth of the actual business. Like our minimum, for example, in any deal we do, and this is what we teach too with our clients, is a 1.8 debt service ratio. 1.8. That is the metric, the minimum metric that we have to hit on any deal that we agree to, or any deal that our clients in our community agrees to as well. Okay, because without that, you have too much pressure, too little cushion, and no room to learn as you run the business. And things happen in the business. Okay, you need to be able to weather storms as they happen from time to time. Okay. So secret number 2, recap. So do not ask, can I afford it? Ask, how can I structure it? Okay. So when I first started buying businesses, back in early 2022, I just jumped in. I ignored any doubt, any fear that I could buy the business, which you should too. And I just told myself, I can go out there, I could buy a business. I can figure it out. I'm going to find a way to make this work. I'm going to structure deals to be able to buy a business. And that's what I did. And the rest is history. You can do the same, okay? You just have to structure your deal properly. That's key, okay? Okay. Let's dive into secret number 3 here, transition into ownership. So the handoff matters as much as the purchase, okay? So the first 30 days, these are very sensitive days when you buy a business and you're stepping into that business. And first and foremost, you want to observe, you want to step in, you don't want to like ruffle feathers and, throw your ego around. You want to step in and see how people are working and what they're doing in the business and what results they're getting and who's dependable, who's reliable, who can actually generate results. You want to observe early. And then you want to stabilize. If there's changes you need to make, little light changes, go ahead. But for the most part, you want to stabilize, especially during that first 30 days and not make many changes at all. Keep the business going as is. Because if it passed the vetting and you bought it, then it's a good business, it's a turnkey business, and you don't want to make any big changes in the first 30 days. And you're protecting the cash flow. That's why you want to make sure that your investment is protected and is running the way it has been running in those first 30 days and beyond. Okay. But then after you've had some time, then you can start acting as the owner, doing things with, direction, strategies, process, advisement to be able to grow the business further. So do not break what works. That's the key. Okay. New owners, they love changes, but good buyers love evidence. Okay. That's a good rule to follow. And keep the seller close. Okay. Again, you always want to do a deal with a shared risk approach where the owner, the previous owner, is invested in your success as the owner. And so keep that seller close, structure the deal properly, and then keep a relationship and communication going with the previous owner. Now, not forever though, but long enough to transfer judgment. Okay. And then that allows you to protect the revenue. Customers first, team second, improvements third. That's essentially the priority order that you want to follow as the new owner. Okay. Customers first, no changes to the business. Okay. Team second. Okay. No big changes to the team, especially early on. Improvements third. That comes last because you need to protect the revenue during the first 30 days when you transition into a business. And then also learn before you improve. Look, the business has a rhythm. That's why you take that observe step first, because you want to see what that rhythm is. And you want to find it too by experiencing the business's operations as the owner. So that's why you do that early on. And then after that, you want to identify gaps and see where there's gaps in processes and document the machine, have the staff fill in missing processes, have them put together SOPs, which are now very easy for them to do. They don't have to sit there and type into a Google Doc anymore. They can literally just hit a record button, record themselves working, take that recording of them completing a specific task or process, feed it into the company's favorite AI, and then the AI will spit out an SOP. So it's simple as that. So there's no reason why you can't fill in the gaps in the processes to be able to document the machine. And you definitely want to do that early on when you take over as an owner, because the thing is that people leave. Some people may not work out. Some people may have goals that they want to go pursue, and they may not be a part of the company long term. And that's okay. That's just part of the challenges of being a business owner. Is you're constantly managing human personnel, and you're constantly getting resumes and filling gaps and filling seats, because that's just the nature of the game. So you need to make sure that you have good systems, good processes at all times. That's why that's one of the priorities during the initial transition phase, because systems, they stay. People may not, but systems, they stay. Okay. And then small wins first. So I identify where are some leaks that you could fix right away. Leaks don't require a lot of changes to a business. Identify what those are. Clarify the roles. Talk to all the team members. Let them know what their roles are if they're not clear on that. Let them know what metrics that they're responsible for. This way you're creating a performance-driven culture in your business. Keep that trust, okay? By doing that and taking these steps, it's going to create trust, because they see that you know what you're doing. You're stepping in as the owner. You're not making any big changes. You know that you bought a good working business that was producing profit. You're helping them identify gaps. You're filling processes that are missing. You're having conversations with them about what they're responsible for and what metrics that they're responsible for. This way they respect you as the owner, and they know it's coming from you. So they know they have to actually perform in order to keep their job, their role in the company. Okay. That all creates trust when someone can come in and be a leader. And also take high levels of communication as the leader. And by doing that, by putting that energy into what I just went over, you're doing that. You're creating high levels of communication. And then when to add growth. So you obviously want to grow the business, but you don't want to do it right away on day one. You want to do it after you have had your transitional phase, after the stability, after you've created that trust with the staff, after the numbers are clear and make sense and you can see what's working and what some of the opportunities are as well. And then after that, you want to do a transition scorecard. Cash flow, is it stable? Seller transferred, is everything transferred? Great. Is the team calm? Good. Next move clear? Okay, we're clear. We've got clear steps ahead. Okay, so that's the process you want to take when it comes to transitioning smoothly as a new owner in a business that you're purchasing. Because the close, it's not the finish line. It is literally the starting line. Okay, once you have that asset, now you have to take a smooth transition and you have an opportunity to really grow that business, create more cash flow for you, for the business, for the staff, out of the business, and to turn it into an even bigger, more valuable business. So you definitely want to make sure that you ease into the business as the new owner. Okay. So the ARM5 path is, finding the right deal, structuring the right terms, and taking over the right way. And you don't want to do this alone. See, reviewing listings are easy, but good judgment and experience is not. The hidden problem here is that people do not need more listings. They need better filters and they need guidance. And what buyers typically miss is they miss the bad deal, the bad terms, the bad handoff, and they just don't have patience. Okay. And the deal flow gap is this: more deals is not the goal. Better matched deals is the goal. And there's a diligence gap here too. You need questions before you need answers. You need to know what to ask. Most people that are new to this, they don't know what to ask. And you want to have a process that gives you proper due diligence, proper questions to dig into, so this way you get the answers that you need to be able to make a proper assessment on a business. Same with the financing gap. Most buyers think capital, operators, they think structure. And so the financing gap is all about creating the right structure in a deal. This way you're closing an offer that, again, as I mentioned during today's presentation, takes a shared risk approach, protects the cash flow in the business. This way you as an owner benefit on day one. Plus on top of that, the business itself has additional growth capital to be able to continue to grow after you've taken over the business. That's key. And then the transition gap. Closing is easy to celebrate, but the handoff is easy to ruin. Okay, keep that in mind. Yes, you definitely want to, celebrate when you close a business, but it's not, that's where it starts. Okay, that's when you step into the business as an owner and you become an entrepreneur. You become a business owner. Now you need to handle that business you just bought very carefully. And after you have had a smooth transition, then you can start to make changes and do different things to grow the business further. Okay. So here's where ARM5, my company, fits. Okay. So we give you like a deal lens, we give you a financing lens, and we also give you a transition lens. And we help you see better, choose better, and buy better. And the greatest wealth transfer in history is literally happening right now, as I mentioned earlier. Baby boomers own millions of businesses, and as they retire, they need to sell. This is creating the largest wave of business transfers that we've literally ever seen. There's literally 6.8 trillion right now in the global e-commerce market. This is a massive and growing market with thousands of businesses changing hands every single year. And there's 70,000 plus online businesses listed for sale right now. And that's at any given time. Okay. Businesses sell, more businesses are listed. It happens. I've seen this over the last 4.5 years as I've been buying businesses or helping others buy businesses. Okay. There is tens of thousands of businesses available for sale. And you have a huge opportunity here to take advantage of this. So here's the path. So before the traditional path, you start from scratch. It takes maybe 2 to 3 years to have success. There's a 90% failure rate for startups. You spend $50,000, $200,000, maybe even more building the business, getting the business going. And there's sometimes no revenue for a long period of time from the time that you start the business. But then after, with our method, our process, the ARM5 formula acquisition method, you buy an existing business within 4 months or less. This process is meant to be succeeded in within 4 months or less. You have proven revenue from day one when you step into the business. You have creative financing too. we don't lead people into SBA loans that have high risk, for example, unless they're a very experienced business buyer. We help people buy businesses using creative financing to mitigate the risk, take a shared risk deal with little to no money down. Okay. And most importantly, you step into cash flow literally on day one with our process. Okay. So the next step here, if you want help, if you want to buy an online business, you want to take advantage of this massive opportunity right now that everybody has, and you want to lean on us throughout the process, is to book a personalized acquisition session to map your exact acquisition path. Okay. And I'll stick the link here in the comments so you can take advantage of this. And here is what you'll get if we decide together it's a good mutual fit and we can create a plan to get you into a business within the next 4 months or less. You'll get access to our deal analyzer and valuation models, our due diligence vault, our legal contracts and deal templates, also our growth and optimization swipe files to grow the business after you buy it with our help, of course. And then weekly group coaching and also a community that's growing like crazy right now, okay? And here's why it works, because you don't need more noise. You need a cleaner decision, okay? And that's what we give you with this process and with the support that we give you. And the best fit buyers are typically decisive, coachable, and they're ready to act. They're motivated, one way or another, whether it's they want to escape the rat race, whether they just want to create more cash flow opportunities for themselves, and they're just driven to do that, whether they're in a situation where they really need the additional cash flow, or they're just trying to build a nest egg. Either way, they're motivated, they're decisive because of all that. And they're coachable. They lean on us. They know that we're the experts. We've been doing this for a long time, and they're ready to act. So realistic expectations here. This is not passive. I don't want to give anybody the wrong expectations here. When you go through our process, there is going to be at least a little bit of work throughout the process, depending on the path you take. But then after you are the owner, it is a responsibility. So it's not going to be completely passive. It is something that you need to consider being semi-passive, not fully passive, okay? Because this is business ownership. But the value and the impact they can have on you is tremendous and is way bigger than just about anything else out there. And that's why the most wealth out there is created by entrepreneurs, people that own businesses and people that sell businesses. And you could be one of them. Okay. And as I mentioned too, this is based on real proof. This is based on real experience. We've had 22 businesses acquired between our community and us. Since 2022, we've generated over 300 million in online sales. We've made the Inc. 5000 twice in the last 2 years. We've evaluated hundreds of deals over the last few years. So what happens next? You apply, you talk with us, you see if it's possible for your situation, and then we help you map the first move. This way you can buy a business within 4 months or less. So at this point, basically by the end of the year, you could be stepping into ownership of a successful, established, profitable, cash flowing online business. And there's two different ways that we can work with you. We have a done with you on the left and we have a done for you on the right. The done with you is a program where you have to kind of meet us halfway. You have to put in a significant amount of time into this. You definitely want to commit to it, and you're investing in yourself. You're learning how to review businesses, how to evaluate businesses, how to value businesses, how to sell yourself as a buyer to a seller or a broker, how to create offers and how to structure those offers, how to predict the cash flow. You're learning a lot, but you're doing it with our training and with our guidance and with our active live weekly coaching as well. And we have guarantees that if you apply yourself, that you'll be able to buy a business within 4 months or less, as long as you meet us halfway. And if you don't, for whatever reason, we continue to work with you. You have lifetime access to the program. So we continue to work with you to help you close a business. But if you come in driven, you come in motivated, you put the work in, that 10, 15 hours a week, you show up consistently to the coaching calls every Thursday, then we've seen it with other clients. We know that you'll be successful and you'll be able to buy a business within 4 months or less. Okay. And then there's also a VIP done for you option. Now this is limited. We only take 2, maybe 3 clients at most every single month. And this is where we do all the work for you. So you don't even have to do the work. You do get access to the done with you, so you can learn, but you don't have to do it. We do it all for you. So you literally only have to commit to maybe an hour a week of meeting with us as we go through the process, as we go through the buy box that you want to achieve, and the businesses and the type of businesses you want to buy, and the cash flow you want to attain, and what resources you have access to be able to leverage to be able to buy a business. Then we go through listings. We show you the listings that have passed our filters. We show you the businesses that we're creating offers on. We show you what those offers are. We show you how we came to those offers and what the projections on those businesses look like after we close on the business on your behalf. And we go and we close it. We pitch, we get the signatures. We walk you through as if you're buying a house. It's just like you buying a house. That's exactly what the VIP Done For You program and tier is. But again, it's very exclusive. We only help 2 to 3 people every single month. We typically get a lot of applicants every single month, but that is an option as well. Okay. And there's also a clear guarantee on both of these options. I already went over the Done With You guarantee. The Done For You guarantee has a money back guarantee because we're doing it. We're doing all of it. So therefore, we are investing into the deal with you and putting the risk on us because you are taking those steps with us. Okay. So that's in both of our agreements, just so you know. Okay. So why apply now? Okay. If you want to acquire cash flow, you want to buy a business, for whatever your motive is, you have 3 choices at this time. You can do nothing, which I don't think that you're the type of person that's going to do that. You could do it yourself. This means that you're going through a bunch of YouTube, videos, trying to learn, trying to patch together the process. You might read some books, you might learn a few things, but again, you're still patching together the process, and you don't really have anybody helping you and guiding you every step of the way if you do that. Okay, which could lead to a lot of mistakes, costly mistakes, a lot of stress, a lot of frustrations, and also a lot of time to get to your goal as well. Or you could just let us help. We've got a process here that works. We've built a 2-time Inc. 5000 company out of it. We've helped others like Jason, Dirk, and others be able to find businesses, buy businesses, close on businesses, and change their lives. We could do the same for you. Okay. So here are some of the things that I hear when I talk to people that are considering working with us. I need more time. Now, time only helps if you use it well. Now, you have questions, we have answers. The call is no pressure. So the next step here is no pressure. It's for clarity. It's literally to give you a clear plan. So it's a tremendous value in and of itself. It's an opportunity for you to get a clear plan to guide you and help you be able to buy a business, whether you decide to move forward or not, or whether we feel like it's a good mutual fit or not. Either way, you leave with a plan to help you be able to buy a business over the next few months. Or another one is, I need more money. Well, maybe. See, again, there's a self-limiting mindset and a myth here that you need a lot of money to be able to buy a business. And I get it. When I was much younger, I thought the same thing. But now that I've had experience in business over the last 13 and a half years, and I've been buying businesses over the last 4.5 years, I now know you really don't need money. Okay. It helps because it gives you more options, gives you more resources, but you don't need it. You need good credit, and you need a willingness and a drive to be able to take action, put the work in, pitch businesses, deals, play the numbers game, and then you could end up buying a business with little to no money out of your own pocket. Okay. So we can help you, whether you have cash that you're wanting to invest because you want to get your hard-earned capital to work harder for you, or you don't have a whole lot of cash. You have a very small amount of cash, if any, but you have credit and you are willing to leverage that. We can help you. Okay. So you don't need a lot of money. You just need a better structure. Or another objection is, what if I pick wrong? And that is exactly why the filter and support matters. That's why the process matters. That's what you're getting with this. This process is helping you mitigate your risk and reduce your liability, and also end up with a fair, reasonable, shared risk deal with the seller of the business you end up buying, and then support every step of the way, even after that. Okay. So that's what you're getting with this. And that's why filter and support matters so much. Or another objection is, I have a job. Well, okay. If you want more cash flow for yourself, if you want to build wealth faster, and you want more opportunities, or maybe you even want an opportunity to leave your job at some point, or just security, because having a job is not security. And you may have actually experienced that at some point in your professional life. I know I have. Well, income can make you a stronger buyer when you go to buy. Okay. So when you go to approach a business to buy and you tell them that you have a job, you have cash flow, that gives you a lot of security. It presents you as a really good buyer. But now on top of that, you're adding additional cash flow. You're giving yourself an asset that can help you build wealth over the next few years. You're also giving yourself a backup if you need it. You're fortifying basically your castle. You're giving yourself more security, because you never know what can happen. Your job can be phased out. AI could take over your job. The business could maybe be ran in the wrong direction, and then they have to make cuts. You don't know. Okay. So in my opinion, everybody needs to fortify their situation, period, in 2026. And this helps you do that. Okay. So your decision frame, you've got sidelines. You can go at it solo, or you can take a guided path. What sounds better? Being on the sidelines, going at it solo, or taking a guided path? Obviously taking a guided path, right? So that's what this is to you. This is an opportunity for you to take a guided path. So click on the link below, apply now, get a free online business buying strategy session, complimentary $1,000 value, and you'll leave with a clear plan that is meant to help you buy a business literally in the next few months. You have a plan to get you there in a short time frame. Okay. It's a massive value, massive opportunity. And if it's a good mutual fit, we'll invite you into the program. We'll give you the options that we have available. We only take a total of 7 clients every single month between the done for you and the done with you. And if it's a good mutual fit, we'll invite you into it. But either way, you'll get on a call with us, the experts. You'll get a clear plan that will help you be able to buy a business over the next few months. So you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain here. So go ahead and click on the link below, book your free online business buying strategy session. And I'm going to go ahead and go through questions and answers. So if you've got questions, throw them in the comments. I'm going to pull them up right now. I'm going to address all questions over the next about 10, 15 minutes. And if you book during the Q&A session, you also get access to several bonuses, okay? You'll be able to get bonus number 1, our Business Analyzer AI app. So we've got a custom AI app that we'll give you access to that helps you run projections on a business that you're thinking about buying against the profit and loss statement for the past 12 months that you upload to the AI, and also the offer that you put together that you're thinking about making on that business. It'll tell you if that's the right offer for you to follow through on or not, based on our minimum requirements. So we'll help you filter the offer. We'll help you restructure the offer all through that AI and grade it. You get access to that for free. It's a free bonus. That's bonus number 1. Bonus number 2, you get our AI deal flow system. So this is going to be an incredible system. It's going to help you be able to pull in off-market deal flow. It'll reach out to businesses that you want to target, that you want to buy for you. It'll ask them to get on a call with you, and that you're looking to buy a business, and you're going to entice them to get on a call with you because you're offering a deal for their business. It's going to start conversations on your behalf. And this is arguably the best way to get the best deal, because it's approaching businesses that are not listed for sale already. It's approaching off-market businesses. And that's what the value of this system is, besides the fact that it's also 100% automated and doesn't require you to reach out to business owners one by one by one. It does it for you, okay? You can leverage it. And then you get bonus number 3 by my friend, Garrett Gunderson. He's a New York Times bestselling author, a Wall Street Journal bestselling author. He's published several books, authored several books on investing and financial management and mindset. I love his books. I've read a few of them myself. I highly recommend you check out his books. But I'm going to give you his tax navigator, because it's one thing to earn a lot of money, but it's another thing to keep it. This will help you keep it, because it's going to help you navigate tax strategies. So this way you can leverage those tax strategies in the book to protect your earnings, especially the earnings you get from this business that you end up buying through this path that we're presenting to you today. Okay. So you get all that free just for booking. Okay. Just for booking. So again, big opportunity here, guys. There's 6 million in small businesses changing hands as boomers retire. 48% of boomer owners plan to exit within 3 years. And there's 5 trillion plus in private business assets right now entering the market. Okay. And I built this system because I was tired of watching good people lose money on bad deals. Every tool, every template, every framework in ARM5 exists because I needed it myself first. Okay. So this is born out of experience, it's born out of frustration, stress, pain, even. But luckily, you're getting this. So this way you don't have to go through all that. This is going to help you be able to mitigate the risk and end up with a strong shared risk deal and a business that produces cash flow for you on day one and gives you an opportunity to build wealth over the next few years. That's why I built this system. Okay. So I can create impact. And remember, we have 2 clear guarantees. Okay. Done with you. If you follow the process and need more time, we keep working with you until you succeed. The done for you, we buy you a business within 4 months or less or your money back. Okay. So you've got great guarantees in both paths that we could present to you if it's a good fit on both sides. Okay. So I'll go ahead and stop here. I'm going to go through questions, but like I said, take advantage of this opportunity. Click on the link below, book your free online business buying strategy session, get a clear plan to help you be able to buy a business over the next few months by the end of the year. At this point, you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So click on the link and I'm going to go ahead and go through questions here and address any questions that you guys have. All right. See questions coming in. Okay. So first question here. Gufran, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Yes, this is live. This is definitely live. And then how long does it normally take to close an acquisition? Great question, Gufran. Like I said several times, 4 months or less. The process is designed to be completed within 4 months or less. And we've seen ourselves succeed within 4 months or less on average with this process. And we've seen others in our community succeed in that time frame too. Okay. And that's whether it's done with you or done for you. Done with you, the key is meeting us halfway, putting the consistent time into it, showing up consistently. If you do that, then 4 months or less for sure. Okay. Done for you, guaranteed, because we're doing it for you. So great question. I appreciate it. Keep the questions coming as well. All right. Looks like I've got some other questions here. Michael says, how much money should I realistically have saved before I start looking for a business to buy? Okay. So as I mentioned in the presentation today, Michael, you don't need to have money to buy a business. However, you need to have at least good credit to leverage at minimum. If you have that, then you can end up buying a business with good credit. But you need at least that. So you really don't need money, but you definitely need at least good credit. When I say good credit, I mean a 650 plus credit score in order to be able to buy. So you don't need to have a bunch of money saved. I mean, cash helps. If you have cash saved that you could put into a business, that's great. Opens up more possibilities, makes it a little easier to be able to buy a business because, you have more buying power when it comes to going out there and buying a business. But you don't need it. What you need is minimum of a 650 plus credit score. So good question, Michael. Thank you. Keep it coming. Sarah asks, is it actually possible to buy a profitable business without putting a huge amount of my own money down? Well, as I mentioned, based on Michael's question, Sarah, no. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Yes, it is possible to buy a profitable business. I'm losing my voice a little bit, I think, without putting a huge amount of your own money down. So thank you for the question. Let me get a sip of water here because I've got some other questions I need to go through, and I can tell my voice is getting a little strained here from talking over the last 60 minutes here. So let me get some water. Okay. So David says, if I've never owned a business before, what type of businesses should I be looking at? Well, that's a very broad question, David. Thing is that you want to just buy a business that again is established 2+ years, no drop shipping, high ticket, maybe like furniture, but that's it. Don't make any exceptions to that. Profitable over the last 12 months. And also break it down over the last 12 months, month by month. You want to see no more than 2, maybe 3 negative net profit months. And you also want to hear a good reason for that. that they course corrected. Maybe they had to buy inventory, for example. But you're looking for a profitable business. You're looking for a business that isn't completely dependent on the owner. You want to buy a business that has a staff, has a team, has processes in place. You want to buy a business that also ideally is not Amazon based, because that's built on Amazon land. It's okay if it sells on Amazon as a additional sales channel, but you want a business that is selling directly from its own website, because then they own it. They're in much more control of it. It's less risk. It's also a more scalable business as well. When you have a direct-to-consumer business that sells from its own website. So those are the things you're looking for, in addition to buying a business that sells products or a product mix that has future potential. Okay. Here's an example I use on these webinars. For example, you don't want to buy a business that's selling ultraviolet filters, for cleaning the air around you so there's no germs, so you don't catch COVID. It's not 2020 anymore, for example. Okay. So you want to make sure that it's a product or product mix that's in demand, that has projections to continue to be in demand. Okay. So thank you for the question. I appreciate it, David. Jessica says, how do you know whether the seller's financial numbers are actually legitimate? Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, Jessica, you've got to, do the work, do the due diligence. If you're doing this on your own, and you want to go through the bank statements, you want to see the cash in, cash out, make sure it matches the profit and loss statements, match up the expenses, between the two as well. Make sure that there's not any big gaps, between what they're reporting in their profit and loss statement versus the bank statements for those months. That's how you see whether the financial numbers are actually legitimate. Okay. And so when you get further into the process, typically a seller or broker won't give you access to bank statements until you've submitted an LOI, a letter of intent, an offer to buy the business. But after you have, and both sides have signed off on it, ask for the bank statements and go through those bank statements, do the due diligence, compare and contrast with the profit and loss statements. This way you can make sure that the financial statements are 100% accurate, or at least super close. If there's, variances, you obviously want to bring it up, you want to ask, but if there's small variances, that's not a big concern. But if there's big gaps, that obviously is a concern, and you're going to have to find out more by talking to the seller, and you may not get the truth, and there may be a reason to walk away. Okay. So just, okay, I've got time for one more question here. And let's see. So Amanda says, can I buy a business while keeping my current full-time job? Definitely. Absolutely. This is actually designed to help you buy a business that already has a staff. It's already a turnkey operation that you can step into as the owner. I would consider this being like a very minor part-time job, though, after you buy the business, that you'll have to put maybe a few hours a week in, but when you go through this process, and if that's your circumstance and you want to buy a business while you're and own the business while you continue to work, you can totally do that. That's just part of your buy box now. You have to find a business that has a staff that is not owner dependent, that can continue to run, without you day to day. And we help you transition into the business as the owner, set the business up for turnkey operations that continue to go without you. We make sure that everybody knows their role, everybody knows what metrics they're responsible for, and we make sure that there's a strong lead in place to be able to continue to lead the business and report to you as the owner. You'll still want to meet with the staff probably about once a week. That's why I said, a part-time job. So you maybe want to commit 1 to 3 hours a week, but that's about it. If that's your circumstance and you want to buy a business and add the cash flow, have an opportunity to build wealth as an owner of a business, you can do it, but you just have to make sure you have those filters in your buy box, and we can definitely help you do that. Okay, guys. Well, I got to jump into another commitment, but thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for being here live. Thank you for also booking these sessions. I've seen a few come in. I look forward to serving you, and you guys all have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar.